This is going to be the 11th Corps' arrival at Gettysburg, Part 1 on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. And I am standing here at the corner of the Towny Town and the Barlow Greenmount Road here in Gettysburg. And as I turn around 180 degrees, there is a Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission sign that was placed in 2008 that reads, Gettysburg Campaign, the Union Army, 11th Corps, crossing from the Emmitsburg Road in this direction, on July 1st, 1863, turned north here toward Gettysburg. The Union's 2nd Corps camped here on the same night. This sign says that the 11th Corps, under the command of Otis Oliver Howard, came up the Barlow Greenmount Road and at this point turned north toward Gettysburg on July 1st, 1863. Now, this sign is absolutely 100% wrong. First off, the town of Barlow, as you can see, the Barlow Fire Department wasn't even called Barlow in 1863. The town had a totally different name. Therefore, Barlow Greenmount Road didn't exist, and the 11th Corps in whole never turned north toward Gettysburg at this spot because there was no Barlow and because there was no Barlow Greenmount Road. In fact, the name Barlow is named after 11th Corps Divisional Commander Francis Barlow. And the problem is that when the 11th Corps was coming up the Emmitsburg Road from Maryland on the morning of July 1st, 1863, as the roads became clogged, two divisions under Charles Schurz and Adolf von Steinwehr took a different road that would lead them to a different point on the Towny Town Road, where they would then turn north toward Gettysburg. Francis Barlow continued up the Emmitsburg Road in the same route that the 1st Corps under Reynolds took. So one division continued up the Emmitsburg Road. The two other divisions under Schurz and Adolf von Steinwehr actually took another road, a road that doesn't exist, which we're going to show you later, and then turned north at a point a little south of here before heading up to Gettysburg. So this story that we begin of the 11th Corps arrival begins here on Barlow Greenmount Road and with another sign that is wrong here in Gettysburg. Even though this sign has been noted to be wrong and has never been moved, it is, again, misleading to say the best. This has been the 11th Corps arrival at Gettysburg, Part 1 on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. Arrival at Gettysburg, Part 2, here on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. And I'm actually standing in Frederick County, Maryland today, and I'm looking at a sign that says, Welcome to Pennsylvania, Adams County. As I pass by this sign, I enter Fairplay, Pennsylvania. Back in 1863, this was Gettysburg, since Fairplay was is today an unincorporated town. Now, on July 1st, 1863, the 11th Corps, under the command of Major General Oliver Otis Howard, passed right up this road, which is the Emmitsburg Pike, as they headed into Pennsylvania and to the Battle of Gettysburg. Under his command, he had three divisions, one under Carl Schurz, a second one under Adolf von Steinwehr, and another one under Francis Barlow, Divisions 1, 2, and 3. Barlow's first division of troops actually would continue straight on the Emmitsburg Road right into the town of Gettysburg. Because of the roads being clogged as men from the 1st Corps and artillery were being passed through this town, Carl Schurz and Adolf von Steinwehr took a different route. And over the next couple videos, we're going to show you that secret trace road that used to exist back in 1863 and doesn't. Now, this goes back to our first part video where we talked about the sign being in the wrong position. Say the entire 11th Corps went up the Barlow Greenmount Road, made a left, and headed north into the town of Gettysburg. And as we go through this video series of the 11th Corps arrival at Gettysburg, we're going to talk about how the 11th Corps entered the town of Gettysburg and how they split up and how two divisions went one way and Barlow's division actually went straight ahead on this road. We left off on our last part at the sign that was marked wrong. In our next part, we're going to take a look at the Moritz Tavern that Oliver Howard and John F. Reynolds were at on the morning of July 1st, 1863. This has been the 11th Corps Arrival at Gettysburg, Part 2, on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. Hey, this is going to be the 11th Corps Arrival at Gettysburg, Part 3 on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. And where I am right now is I am on the Emmitsburg Road at the junction of where Business 15 and Highway 15 meet, which is just a few miles above the Mason-Dixon line of Emmitsburg, Maryland and Fairplay, Pennsylvania. Our last video was shot in Fairplay about a mile in that direction on Business 15, which crosses over Highway 15, which obviously wasn't here at the time of the battle. Business 15 is the original road, the original Emmitsburg Pike. And the 11th Corps, under Oliver Otis Howard and his 3 divisional commanders, Barlow, Schurz, and von Steinwehr, marched northward and arrived and passed by this building here, which is called the Moritz Tavern. And we did a video already on the Moritz Tavern. It was also in our first Corps Arrival at Gettysburg video series. So if you want to know a little bit more about the building and dates and things like that, go back and watch that video. But the Moritz Tavern today, again, sits at the junction of these 2 roads and next to the Gettysburg Auto Auction. It's a building not many people know when they pass is a historical building, but it was built, or part of it, the left side was built in the late 1700s, and it was added on to twice, all before the Civil War. So the building in its full existence is a Civil War building. This is also the building where Major General John Fulton Reynolds spent the last night of his life. He slept behind the building in the kitchen, across a couple of chairs, and we discussed that in both the Moritz Tavern video and also on our first Corps Arrival. We're not going to get into John Reynolds right now because this is the 11th Corps, but the 11th Corps troops proceeding northward toward the battlefield of Gettysburg passed by the Moritz Tavern here on July 1st, 1863, on their way into Gettysburg on the morning of Gettysburg to what would be engaged in the area of Barlow's Knoll, Cemetery Hill, and Oak Hill over the next 2 days. So this is a historic building. It is also part of the route of the 11th Corps heading north on the Emmitsburg Pike in July of 1863 at the epic Battle of Gettysburg. This has been the 11th Corps Arrival at Gettysburg, Part 3, here on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. Hey, this is going to be the 11th Corps Arrival at Gettysburg, Part 4, here on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook, and also Secrets of the Battlefield. When the 11th Corps arrived at Gettysburg here in July of 1863, crossed into Pennsylvania, and passed by the Moritz Tavern, which we just left in our last video, which you can see in the distance up here, there was a problem. The 1st Corps was also moving up this road. There were also artillery, wagons, and trains, and just before the Battle of Gettysburg, it had rained, and of course after the Battle of Gettysburg it would rain again. The roads at that time, which were dirt roads, were very, very muddy. There was also a lot of traffic on these roads, and this traffic, just like today with modern traffic, as you can see cars coming up the road, here in March it's not too bad. Come in June and July, these roads are clogged with cars, and the traffic sometimes can back up a little bit, especially if there's road construction or events going on. So back in 1863, with thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of troops moving up much smaller, narrower dirt roads that were wet and muddy, there were backups, there were delays. And at this point in the march of the 11th Corps, there was a problem where the roads had become backed up, that it was decided that the 11th Corps would split and head eastward in this direction and try to take an alternative route to get back northward into the town of Gettysburg, which is directly here, northbound on the Emmitsburg Road. Now, as I stated in an earlier video, there were three divisional commanders: Francis Barlow, Adolf von Steinwehr, and Karl Schurz. The 2nd and 3rd divisions were under Schurz and von Steinwehr. The 1st division was of Francis Barlow. And as we looked at in our Part 1 video, there was a sign placed over at Barlow Greenmount Tawnytown Road intersection that said that the troops turned and head northbound toward Gettysburg there, and I pointed out that the sign was in the wrong spot. On our next video, we're going to show you exactly what I was talking about in Part 1 and how these troops split. This has been the 11th Corps arrival at Gettysburg, Part 4, on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. The 11th Corps arrival at Gettysburg, Part 5, and also Secrets of the Battlefield on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. And in Part 4 of our series of the advance of the 11th Corps into Gettysburg, I talked about the conditions of the roads at the time of the Battle of Gettysburg and how they become clogged as Major General Howard's troops began marching northbound in the direction toward the camera to the Battle of Gettysburg. And at some point, the 2nd and 3rd divisions under von Steinwehr and Karl Schurz split from Francis Barlow's 1st Division. Now, what had happened, the dirt road that was sitting here had actually split. Francis Barlow continued northbound following the route of the 1st Corps troops just prior to their arrival, and Karl Schurz and Adolf von Steinwehr headed in an eastbound direction to get over to the Tawnytown Road and then to turn north and make their way. Now today, if you come on the Emmitsburg Road, you're going to see this mailbox right here that says 3387. And of course, in the distance at the crest of the hill, you can see the little small building, and that was where our previous videos were shot at the Moritz Tavern. Now, if you see this mailbox today, and to the left you'll see the stone wall. If you turn to your right, you will see the original trace of the original road that these 11th Corps troops under the 2nd and 3rd divisions under von Steinwehr and Karl Schurz took to head eastward to get to the Tawnytown Road. And all that remains today is a small road trace. But this is the original road, and we're going to walk a little bit on it. This is a part of the original road bed trace that these troops took. And in our upcoming videos, we're actually going to, and the road trace just continues back in here through the woods for about a mile before it comes out on the Marsh Creek Road. It was where we're going to pick up our next video. But this is the original roadbed trace the 2nd and 3rd divisions took. And again, it can be seen today by coming up to the Emmitsburg Pike, where you see the mailbox for the address 3387 Emmitsburg Road, and then just going past it a few yards and turning into the woods. This is a very historic road, yet a secret of the battlefield. That's something that's not real well known about. This has been Part 5, the splitting point of the 2nd and 3rd Division away from the 1st Division under Francis Barlow of the 11th Corps on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. The 11th Corps arrival at Gettysburg, Part 6 on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook. And we are following the route of the 11th Corps troops, 2nd and 3rd Division under Adolf von Steinwehr and Karl Schurz, which split from the 1st troops off of Francis Barlow, the 1st Division. And we showed you in a previous video the old Trace Road. That Trace Road is directly in front of us through this wooded area. The Emmitsburg Road heads up this way, and the road that we are standing on here is Marsh Creek Road, which comes off of the Emmitsburg Road. And that original road, which was called, that Trace Road, which was called the Chapel Road, came out here from where we shot our last video and walked into the woods. And that road today is called Chapel Road Extension. Now, the reason that the road today is called Chapel Road Extension is because Chapel Road was done away with completely in the late 60s as the Highway 15 was cut through Gettysburg. The original Business 15 that we walked on earlier was the northbound route from Emmitsburg to Gettysburg. These troops following this dirt road were splitting away from the 1st Division and also some 1st Corps troops that were clogged up on the Emmitsburg Road. They made their way here and followed what today is Chapel Road Extension, and that road was Chapel Road back then. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to drive in my car and I'm going to show you how Chapel Road looks today, or Chapel Road Extension. Also, I do want to point out that that stone house that's up there on the hill here on what was Chapel Road and is now Chapel Road Extension is one of the oldest in Gettysburg. It was built in 1790. So this house was a house that 11th Corps troops under Adolf von Steinwehr and Carl Schurz passed by on their way to Gettysburg. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to head up Chapel Road Extension, and I'm going to show you the road today, how it ends at a cul-de-sac. Of course, when Highway 15 was built, the road was cut in half. Chapel Road is now on the other side, and this side is called Chapel Road Extension. So if you'll just bear with me for about 1 minute as we travel the same road that the 11th Corps troops, 2nd and 3rd Divisions marched across on their way to the Battle of Gettysburg. Okay, so we've come to the end of what appears to be Chapel Road, and right here in front of us is Business Route, I'm sorry, Highway 15, southbound and northbound. In 1863, Chapel Road simply crossed what today is this highway, and right here where you see these openings in the trees, this is, and on the other side there is a road that you can see if you look real closely going uphill. That is the Chapel Road, and that's where we're going to pick up on the rest of the video series following the 2nd and 3rd Divisions of the 11th Corps troops. So this is also one of the secrets of Gettysburg, this road that appears to end here but at one time crossed over, and very historic. So where these cars are riding by right now, like that van and that car, they are crisscrossing the path, and many people who obviously travel up and down from Maryland to Pennsylvania don't realize what piece of history passed right by where their cars are going northbound on Highway 15. This has been Part 6 of the 11th Corps arrival at Gettysburg, and also Secrets of the Battlefield, the old Chapel Road, which is now Chapel Road Extension, here on Gettysburg Battlefield Facebook.